Thank you very much for being with us this morning. We are conducting the pre-proposal conference for RFP 542775, an independent internal auditor services for our CDBG DR program, Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program. I'm going to introduce myself formally. We will have an introduction period for all of you, and we would like you to identify who you are, who you're representing, and this is for city staff as well as our potential vendors who will be bidding. We do have an agenda for today, and I will share that briefly with you as I am admitting. So for those who are joining, if you will go into mute mode, that would be great. We are recording this particular pre-proposal conference, as we do all of our pre-bid or pre-proposal conferences for the City of Detroit. This will be posted on YouTube, and I will send the link for the YouTube recording to all of you who are potential bidders via the UNA Procurement Bonfire RFP. So this morning we will go briefly through an overview of the timelines for this particular RFP. We did receive some questions, so we will provide a Q&A period. We have a representative from our Office of Development and Grants who I will introduce, or she will introduce herself to you shortly, and she'll provide a background and description of the needs, why we are soliciting this particular service. I will cover the key response items that you need to be sure to include with your proposal response in order for us to consider it as a responsive submission. And then we will have an opportunity for any additional questions and answers that you may have before we conclude this particular activity. But the other thing that I need to do is to read verbatim the following. So during this overview of the pre-proposal conference, this call is being recorded. Please state your name and the company, organization that you represent when you were unmuted. All potential respondents are encouraged to ask questions. You may enter them into the chat at any time. All verbal responses that we as City of Detroit representatives offer to the questions provided today are unofficial until documented in writing as an official response in the UNA Bonfire Procurement RFP 542775 supplier portal. You may submit any additional questions in Bonfire in the supplier portal for this particular RFP, and we will respond to all potential respondents via Bonfire RFP 542775 supplier portal. So now that we've got that officially recorded, we can move forward. So the first thing that I'd like to ask everyone who is with us this morning is if we could do a quick introduction so that we know who you are. And as I said, we do have some City of Detroit representatives on this call. They'll introduce themselves too. So Why don't we have our city representatives introduce themselves first, and then we will get those of you who are interested in applying for this responsibility to introduce yourselves.
Go ahead and start, Elizabeth. My name is Abby LaFramboise. I'm the Deputy Director in the Office of Development and Grants of the City of Detroit. We are part of the Office of the Chief Financial Officer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Abby.
I can go next. Good morning. My name is Gordon Pearson. I am the CDBG Disaster Recovery Director within the Housing and Revitalization Department. Thanks.
Thank you, Gordon.
My name is Khadijah Weathersby. I am the Data Manager for CDBG DR programs within HRD.
Thank you, Khadijah.
Good morning. This is Ethan Grisecki. I'm the DR Program Analyst at the City Office of Development and Grants. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan.
My name is Cynthia Saxon. I am the manager for the Grant Accounting Department.
Thank you very much, Cynthia.
Morning, I'm Julia Rhodes. I am a manager on the disaster recovery team out of HRD.
Thank you, Julia. All right, I think that must be all of our city employees. So those of you who are potential bidders or curiosity seekers who are on this call, you may go right ahead and identify yourself, your name, and the organization you represent.
Good morning. I'm Alan Bordelon, a proposal writer with Weaver and Tidwell.
Thank you for being with us, Alan.
Thank you.
Elizabeth and team, this is Ben Brewer again with Raymond. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ben.
Christy Clark, also with Raymond.
Thank you, Christy.
Hey, Reed Mankowski. I'm a principal with Clifton Larson Allen, also known as CLA.
Thank you. And you said it's Reed?
Reed, yep.
Thank you, Reed.
And my name is Emily Plumley with Guidehouse.
Thank you, Emily. I think that that includes all of our participants. Just double check. Yes. Okay, great. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to assume that all of you have had an opportunity to look over the RFP for this particular opportunity. And for timelines, this went out to bid on the 17th of February 2026. The initial questions were due February 27th at 3 p.m. We'll distribute the answers to those questions as well as share the responses to those questions in this meeting, and they'll be posted to the RFP later today. Proposals are due March 16, 2026 by 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We're also asking if you know that you are going to submit a proposal for this opportunity, for you to go ahead and indicate in the RFP that you are going to pursue an intent to bid by the due date. That due date posting will close on March 16th at 3. So we encourage you, if you know you're going to make a submission, to go ahead and do so at this time. You don't have to wait until March 16th. Proposals are due in the supplier portal. We are using Procurement, the bonfire particular program. This is a fairly new program that the City of Detroit is using. For those of you who have had contracted opportunities with us in the past, we are still using Oracle. So in order to submit for this opportunity, you need to be sure that you are registered in Bonfire in order to make that submission. Obviously, if you're not yet registered, you're able to participate in this pre-proposal conference without needing to be registered. But if you're going to submit a proposal, please make certain that you are registered before the due date, and that if you require any technical assistance, we have an e-procurement team with technical expertise that will be available to assist you if need be. And I was going to say, if you've had a contracted opportunity with the city previously, you don't have to register in Oracle again. But if you are a new respondent looking for city opportunities, you do also need to be sure that you are registered in Oracle, so that once we make determinations, we will be able to move forward with not much delay in getting that contracted package together. We are anticipating the potential of interviewing respondents. We'll identify a short list, so we may not necessarily be interviewing everyone who responds, but our evaluation team will make those determinations at the appropriate time. Any questions about anything that I've said thus far? Okay, great. Well, then we're going to, at this time, share with you some of the questions that were asked and the responses that were provided. I'm just going to move this over here. All right, are you able to, if you're able to see my screen, that's great. I'm going to see if I can increase the font size just a little tiny bit. Okay, so we received 4 questions by the deadline. And the first question is, can you describe what the city would like to see in Section B? This is for Attachment B, Proposal Solution Approach versus Section D, Technical Approach. We interpret these areas to be looking for identical information. So our OCP response is, Attachment B includes 4 parts: a proposal introduction, proposal solution approach. This would be your firm's solutions approach to the scope and deliverables, and any considered process that you may include and implications. C is the project timeline schedule, and D is the technical approach. And for the technical approach, those would be the procedures that your firm will follow regarding the scope and deliverables. So the City of Detroit seeks to understand the the City of Detroit seeks to understand the performance pathways proposal respondents anticipate addressing for each area described in the RFP scope of services with the goal of achieving and providing the expected deliverables. And the ODG response was that we agree with the response provided by OCP. The second question included in the RFP section 2.3. So section 2.3 refers to, in quotation marks, the system, but there is no definition of this term. Can you please expand upon what, in quotation marks, the system is and what items will refer to? So the OCP response is the reference to, in quotation marks, the system is regarding your firm's system that stores or warehouses data. If your firm anticipates accessing the city's data, the information in section 2.3 should indicate the technical specifications required to do so. We have those specifications identified in the RFP. Your firm should provide your system's technical specifications that conform with the City of Detroit standards. And the ODG response is that they agree with the OCP response. Online versus remote preference. So question 3, the RFP did not mention expectations for on-site time. Are there expectations that the winning bidder will need to travel on-site during the course of the procedures? The ODG response is no, this is not an expectation. Question 4 relates to scope of services. It's mentioned in the RFP that the services must be done in accordance with single audit and, in quotation, any other applicable procedures for the audit of a government's financial statements prepared in accordance with GAAP. And then we close the quote. The RFP also mentions it should include, in quote, biannual programmatic and financial audit report, end quote, in June and December of 2026. Can you please clarify if the requirements for reporting are biannual or one report as prescribed per single audit standards? And the ODG response is the required cadence for auditing and reporting is biannual. So those are the questions and answers that we've received to date. We will consider what I call rolling questions. So as you begin drafting and preparing your response to this proposal, if there are other questions that come up during that process, you may submit those questions. I believe I've opened the Q&A so that we will be able to receive questions from you through, I think I have it open through Thursday of next week. Again, the proposals will be due on Monday, March the 16th. So, bringing that to your attention. Any questions about anything covered thus far before I do this pivot and turn this over to Abby for her to provide a project overview and background description of needs? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. All right, Abby, you may go right ahead.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry. Do you have any screen that you need to share?
No, I don't.
Okay, great.
Right. So as I mentioned previously, I'm with the city's Office of Development and Grants, which is part of the OCFO. We are the ones that will be directly managing this contract. It is related to a 346, I sometimes get that a little off, million award for CDBG disaster recovery. It was awarded to the city in summer of, or issued in the summer of 25 in relation to flooding events that occurred in 2022. So we are currently in the beginning stages of implementation of this award. We're conducting several RFPs, conducting some NOFAs to identify subrecipients. We do have, I believe, 1 to 2 contracts that have been executed, but still, again, in the early stages of implementation. We are looking, of course, to satisfy the requirement per the Federal Register to have the internal independent auditing services. We're required to have this for any award over $100 million. The city previously did receive 2 other CDBG DR awards that fall below that criteria. However, I believe we've written this RFP to indicate that while we'll primarily focus, especially during the first year or so of this audit, services will focus primarily on the larger award. We do want to keep it open if we need to have services for the other 2 earlier smaller awards. So this contract will report up to our Chief Financial Officer by way of the Office of Development and Grants. This is a requirement to, of course, not report directly to the program team that is administering this, which would be primarily our Housing and Revitalization Department, with the support of other departments as well. However, I will note that the auditing will involve members of that team as well. So we intend to have this audit cover both programmatic and financial components of the CDBG DR award. And the chosen vendor will work closely with teams across the OCFO as well as our housing and other departments to obtain the information needed to be able to conduct the audit. Some of the things that, in terms of the scope of the audit, we intend to have the auditor, or would like to have the auditor look at our program policies, procedures, our financial internal controls, reviewing our procurement processes, make sure we are adhering to our stated procedures, looking at the adequacy of our internal controls to mitigate risk, such as fraud, waste, and abuse, reviewing the allowability of our transactions or our expenditures, and then, of course, just again, the consistency of our practice with our published policies and procedures. So again, it's a combination of programmatic and financial monitoring. As we clarified, we would like to have this done biannually, so that we have this information to help inform, make changes, use these recommendations to have timely response to adjusting things as needed, and better prepare for our city's single audit, as well as any other auditing that that happens in the future from HUD or otherwise. So I think that's the overview, everything I can think of. Team, especially Gordon, is there anything that you would add that I've missed?
Well, yes, the contractor would be required to have hopefully extensive experience working with grants with government grants in term with accounting and I'm sorry, I got a text. I'm sorry. Things related to audit, specifically where the contractor will be able to efficiently work independently and provide the request from Abby will more than likely be the lead on that, but anything programmatic or related to accounting to be able to independently and effectively make determinations on documentation required without guidance from the city.
I didn't have anything to add to that. Both of you guys are very thorough. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Cynthia and Gordon.
Welcome, Abby.
Is there anything, Elizabeth, that you'd like us to add?
No. You've covered, the timeline and, gave a high overview as well as some specifics of the expectations. So, no, I think that you are comprehensive in your presentation. But we'll now look and see whether or not there are questions or comments from some of our potential respondents. The floor is now open. And I don't see anything in the chat. Okay. So any questions from any of you? Or comments? I don't see any hands. Oh, Ben just came. Okay, there you go. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Elizabeth, thanks so much. Just wanted to reconfirm, I know you mentioned earlier, so the portal to submit questions is going to be reopened, is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Perfect.
And I'll keep that open until Thursday, March the 12th.
Perfect.
So again,
thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Other questions or comments from anyone? So this is not official, but for those of you who are on the call, I'm curious how many of you anticipate that you will be providing a proposal response to this opportunity. You could do a show of hands, or you can put it in the chat, or you can say so. Okay.
Raymond intends to submit as well.
Great, great.
Weaver and Tidwell intends to submit.
Great, excellent.
As does CLA.
Very good, very good. Okay, all right. So if there are no questions that you have to ask about that, then I need to make certain that everyone understands when you make your submission what we're looking to see in terms of documentations. And I'm not talking about the content of your documents. I'm speaking about the actual document themselves. So when you are submitting to this opportunity, we want to make certain that you include attachment A, which is the respondent questionnaire. Oh, I see a hand up. Reed, did you have a question or comment?
I apologize. That was up still from intent to submit.
Okay.
I just lowered. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, so the technical proposal, which we are looking for, includes attachment A, the respondent questionnaire, and attachment B, the proposal, introduction, and solution / approach. Those comprise what we call the technical proposal. We will be evaluating the technical proposal submitted before we look at the cost proposal. So we will do a review and actual scoring of the proposals package for the technical aspect, attachment A and B. And please label your responses in that way. Attachment A is pretty much put together as a form document that you will be completing responses to, or clarifications regarding your qualifications and your past experience and who your firm is. And if you're going to be including any subcontractors in this opportunity assisting you with any of this, we want you to identify those subcontractors or a subcontractor, if that is the case. It doesn't have to be. But in attachment A. Attachment B is your opportunity to, as creatively, provide a response as you deem appropriate. So it is not a form document. There are aspects of the proposal that we want you to address, and those are identified in attachment B, but it is not a form document. But please do label that portion of your proposal response as attachment B. Attachment C is the actual cost proposal. We want to see your fee schedule and your line item project budget for this opportunity. Attachment D1 includes required documents that you need to submit along with your proposal response, such as a certificate of authority, so that we know whoever is submitting a proposal is indeed authorized to do so. And then there will be some additional forms, conflict of interest that needs to be disclosed, a non-collusion form that is required, and so attachment D1 includes documents that must be submitted with your proposal. D2 is optional. D2 includes documents that the city will require for contracting purposes, such as a city clearance, our consolidated affidavits, an employment application, those types of documents. Now, while we do say that it's optional, let me say that those items that I just mentioned, especially the city clearance, our city clearance includes a clearance from the state of Michigan. Those take longer. So we encourage anyone who is anticipating responding to, at this time, take the steps to complete a city clearance application, which is online, and there is a link in the RFP for you to be able to access that. But nevertheless, if you've had a contract with the city previously, then you understand that routine. But let me say that at least by the time we move toward contracting, it would be a great idea to have all of those taken care of well in advance to whoever is going to receive this opportunity. Don't wait. Don't delay. Sometimes there are questions that come up, or sometimes there may be discrepancies with what the city has a record of and what the state of Michigan has a record of, and clearing up those discrepancies to be able to move forward can sometimes be a bit time consuming. So we'd like to get started with this opportunity as quickly as possible, And so, again, you're encouraged to make certain that you complete the city clearance if possible. Now, if you already have some of those documents and the city clearance is unexpired, the consolidated affidavits is no older than 9 to 10 months, then submit those with your package, because that means that if we get those types of documents in advance, it saves on the back end. The other item, I'm sorry, that I wanted to bring to your attention, I'm going to stop sharing just for a brief minute. And I have a couple of these documents open. Share my screen briefly again. So you should be able to see my screen, and you should see the various documents that I mentioned. There are also some exhibits that I'm not going to go into a long deliberation over, but I'll mention to you, it's important for you to at least read the Exhibit A and the Exhibit B that are a part of this package. The reason is because those federal rules and regulations apply to this particular solicitation, and you need to be aware of what the framework is that governs this. The RFP document is here, and so if you are using our bonfire system for the first time, then we encourage you to explore it thoroughly before the deadline, so that if you have questions that you need to pose to our e-procurement team, that you will be able to get those questions or clarifications answered before the due date. All right, any questions about anything that I've mentioned thus far? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. Not seeing anybody coming off of mute. Okay, great. Oh, as a clarification, the RFP was updated while it was out, and so there is an amendment document that is included with that list of documents that I shared with you. Bonfire may ask you to complete that amendment form, and so the items that are in red font on this RFP document, this is the actual RFP document, says we added the date and time of the virtual pre-proposal conference, and it appears here in red font also. You can complete the amendment form and simply indicate that the virtual pre-proposal conference was included. So you don't have to go into a dissertation, just letting you know that when you get ready to make your submission, Bonfire may indicate that an amendment took place, and we call that Rider 2, and then you need to respond accordingly. And again, our e-procurement team will be available to assist you with any of that, but I did want to bring that to your attention. Any other questions, comments?
Elizabeth, may I make a quick clarification to my overview from earlier?
Yes.
Thank you. I do want to clarify that the award, that the $346 million award, which is primarily the subject of this audit, the award was issued in 2025, but it was related to the disaster that occurred between August 24th and 26th in 2023. I misspoke and said 2022 earlier. So just to clarify.
I'm sorry, Abby, I was on mute and I was running my mouth.
Oh, no problem.
So I was updating my notes also. So you said the flooding event took place August 24th, 2023?
24th through 26th in 2023.
Okay, great.
Time flies, you know, so you just
Absolutely.
So I had to correct myself. Thank you.
Very good. Appreciate that. And I think I saw someone put something in the chat. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. Okay. I think we've covered all of the essentials. We're now open to any questions that you may have. Any final questions, comments, or concerns? I'm not seeing any hands. So that means that we did a great job covering all the information and material that you needed to be aware of. And so this virtual meeting had been scheduled to go at least until noon, but if there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, we want to thank you very much for your time. We look forward to receiving your proposal responses. We're excited that there are a number of you who are with us today. I will say that this virtual pre-proposal conference is not mandatory, and for that reason we will be posting this proposal conference on YouTube, which gives an opportunity for any other potential respondents to be able to review the pre-proposal conference. They may not have been able to join us today, may have been a conflict, but this is not a mandatory participation. So others who may not be with us still have an opportunity to also submit a proposal response and to review the pre-proposal conference. I'm going to hope that we are able to get our pre-proposal conference formatted and prepared in such a way that if not by tomorrow, at least by Wednesday, that we will hope to have it posted. And depending upon how busy our e-procurement team is, could be posted by the end of business today. So note that it will be identified in Unibonfire in the RFP when it is available. And when it is available, I will be providing a link via Unibonfire for you to be able to review the recording on YouTube. All right, well, if there's nothing further, we want to again thank everyone very much for your time. Hope that you have a good rest of the day. And the weather here is great, so wherever you are, we hope you're enjoying great weather too. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a great week. Thank you.
Have a good week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Mm-hmm.